These cars were built to be beautiful. Not all cars being built then thought that way. Every country had their Model A Ford. Every country had their Fiats and their everything that the great majority of the population bought. What really has defined the focus of what I've put together is the particular era, and that's the era of the 30s. There's a great accident of time in these cars, to the extent that they will never have an equal, and there was no equal before that. It didn't start that way. It started with me kind of wanting what every young guy my age at the time was wanting, which is, an old Ford, particularly a faster old Ford. But as I started collecting, it wasn't really collecting cars as much as acquiring a couple of cars and enjoying them for just driving and that experience. But then after a while, I began to get further and further involved in the field of cars, what was out there, what was the range of things that, were beyond the limits of what I knew. I've been a collector of cars for probably over 40, 45 years. It's been one of the joys of my life, and my wife as well has enjoyed it equally as much. We've had the good fortune to run a successful business, which allowed me the opportunity to purchase cars, and we love driving them. We love repairing them and restoring them. So we are fairly completely consumed by the activity of collecting, building, and driving old cars. We early on began doing our own restorations. I guess we did about 37 of our 80 cars that we've owned over time. We've restored 37 of them, and 17 of that number we've done in our own shop, which is something we're pretty happy about.
I always liked cars. I used to joke about it. I always picked my boyfriends by what they drove. So I guess it started out with a 55 Thunderbird in pistachio green. And then I found this guy who loved cars. I think that was an accident. We actually have way more things in common than that. We're both designers. And meeting another designer who thinks on the same lines that you do, that sees things very much the way you do, who has similar philosophies, was a very exciting moment. And then our car passion brought us together even closer. The first car to win was our 1932 Chrysler, designed and built for Walter Chrysler, an incredibly special automobile. You know what? The first one was the most amazing, magical, actually. We were newbies. We had been on the field once before, the year before, with a Talbot, which decided not to start when it was time for it to go up for its award. So that was a pass. The idea of, first of all, it was an American car. It was rare for American cars to win, except perhaps for a Duesenberg. We didn't know anybody. Nobody knew us. Some woman came to us sometime in the middle of the afternoon before the award ceremony and said, "You are best of show." Okay. That was very sweet. It was an amazing thing, just first to win first in class, to be in the winner's circle, to be amongst amazing cars, and to have this experience of Jay Human and Lauren Tryon walking this field and pretending to search for the car that's best of show. And suddenly, after he had passed us by, going, Sam Mann, are you here? And going, and there you were. And that was the most exciting moment.
The car behind you is the Duesenberg in that wonderful cream color. Was the car built for Clark Gable, for he and his then wife, Carol Lombard. It's a magnificent car. It was unique mainly because Gable customize the car. It was a special design to begin with, and before he ever even drove it, he sent it to Bowman and Schwartz at Los Angeles with a bunch of sketches that he worked out with their in-house designer. What that car is, Clark Gable's very special imprimatur on the car, his special idea of what the car should be to be that exciting. The twin spares, the really steeply racked windshield, hood-mounted air scoops, the hood brought all the way back from the radiator to the cowl, so it visually extended the look of the car, and the radiator painted body color, which even made it more integrated and even accented the length even further. And fabulous car to drive, and we've had it on several of the Duesenberg tours, and it's just spectacular. Things happen when they happen and time moves on. These cars were the product of the automobile first evolving, reaching the point by the late 20s and the 30s where these cars were comfortable, competent, by those standards, but beautiful. They were made at a time when most cars in Europe were handmade. In America, we had already resorted to mass or volume production, as did some European marques, but the Europeans in the main were smaller companies and the cars were hand-built. There's something very unique that causes. It allows the company to be flexible, because if they're building cars by hand, whether they build it this way or that way, it's the same thing. So if they're not building volume production, but building, one of a kind, that allows them to build any design that the client would like. And the competition then gave rise to hiring designers and allowing people to own very one-off designs. What makes that additionally interesting is that the machine can not create every shape and contour, but the hand can. And that's why these cars are so swoopy, have fenders that come to a point, and where they are a nightmare to be able to build these on a machine, but by hand didn't matter. And that's what made these cars special, that someone could walk into a showroom and say, I want that model, but I want it to look like something different. Fine, come back in 3 weeks, we'll have a sketch for you, or a bunch of sketches for you, and proceed from there.
What do you want the next custodians or owners of these cars to take away from them?
Oh, I want them to love them. I want them to be their conservators, their stewards. I want them to enjoy them. And frankly, a lot of these cars need to go back out and be shown again. People need to see them. And hopefully they'll drive them and have fun with them. I mean, it's a car. I mean, it goes and it's supposed to get used, but some of them are so beautiful and so sculptural and so much fine art. They deserve to be seen by as many people as you can get.
I would have to fully agree with what Emily says, most particularly because it's not an approach we take to designing things anymore. We're much more corporate in our approach to designing things designed by committee more so than by individual inspiration. And they don't come out the same way. People's egos are often the thing that drives their creativity and imagination and desire to do something different and wonderful. In this era, it's important to know that there were better times and whatever we can take away from learning about that. We see these cars as fine art. If you take many of these cars and see them against the background of sculpture, these cars have the same consideration. The guy who designed it and shaped it, and the same thing with the Ferraris. These people would do the same thing they did as a sculptor did. They would shape it, they'd model it, they'd step back, They'd say, this curve has to be smaller, this piece has to be a little longer, and they would make those changes. And it was the same kind of aesthetic sensibility that went into creating these as went into creating something that we revere in a museum.